one of the things that I was going to get into, was that both of my jobs that I've had in the past 3 years came from church. And that goes back to the point of, like, Daniel saying, I don't know how my life would be immensely different if I didn't have church.
True.
And, yeah, like, literally, I got 2 amazing jobs. One straight out of high school, and one when I was kind of, I could say, destitute. But, yeah, it's all from church. Both of them. But, yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. I've thought about that. It's like, dude, how are people supposed to make friends if you don't go to church?
I know, and it's not even just the things you've done. It's also little things probably, like, that you don't even realize. Like, probably one of the reasons you prioritize, like, I don't know, maybe hair or something about yourself is probably could be stemmed from some social interaction you had at church.
Probably not.
Don't think so? Really?
Not how I look, for sure.
I don't mean the way you look. I'm saying a lot of your priorities or
That I might agree with, but
things like that.
I mean, I think I don't know. There are. I mean, yeah, it's definitely affected by church, like pretty much everything I do in some way. But I kind of think of it more as like my social circle, and yeah, I mean, just like relationships. That's probably most affected by church. I mean, that's what church is for a Christian, is fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could have a relationship with God without church, but you don't have that fellowship part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's and it's something that's so important to have, like, even just being able to grow and everything. It's so important.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of like triggered that I like missed church today, because I woke up and I literally didn't even think it was Sunday. I didn't realize it was Sunday until probably 1 p.m. today.
Yeah.
Scuffed.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I on the other hand, I don't think I've been affected by this virus at all, because, I mean, I see my church people literally every single week on Thursdays because
You don't see
I'm
like
part of the staff.
big church though.
Yeah, and we literally can't go back until it's green. It's like, it's almost not worth it. That's the thing. It's like, it's just, it's not worth going back and getting scrutiny from both sides, because we went back, oh my gosh, you're such a big church, how could you go back? And then also, why didn't you go back sooner?
Right. Dude, the weirdest thing for me with this coronavirus thing is that it somehow got, like, turned into politics.
Yeah.
Like, what? That is so crazy. It's weird that you have so many conservative people basically just, like, diminishing the risk of it versus, like, liberal people. That's so bizarre. It should not be based on a partisan thing at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people should have their reasonings based off of science.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with that, but I think that what we know about it as far as science, I think there's still conservatives that think, even considering that they still shouldn't have taken so many rights. It just comes down to how bad you think it is. And even if science says it's this bad, some people think that's pretty bad, and some people think that's not that bad.
Yeah.
So it's
all my
really
point
the
is
same
that
thing.
it shouldn't be a political issue.
Agreed.
But politics is just morals. I know it sounds weird, but politics is
Wholeheartedly
just.
disagree. Wholeheartedly
What do you
disagree.
mean by politics then? We must have different
The
different
two
definitions.
parties. If
Oh, yeah, then I agree with you there. Yeah. By politics, I thought you meant things like people arguing about different rights or things like that. I didn't think you meant left versus right or anything like that.
no, I'm talking about it becoming like a partisan issue.
Okay, yeah,
Of-
that's retarded.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Is
Yeah, I
we
agree.
have conservatives thinking that it's not a big deal, and liberals
there's-
thinking that it is.
It's the same on both sides, though. Like, it's not entirely.
I think each side's split pretty evenly between people who think it's a big deal and people who don't.
Dude, no way.
I don't
If
think
you
it's-
look at blue states, they're the people that are deciding to go hard in the paint of restricting stuff.
Yeah.
But
This
they
is
also have a
very
lot
clear.
of the protests in those blue states.
You still, yeah, obviously there's like red people Or
Well, yeah.
yeah,
I'm
people
saying
that
a
don't
lot
believe
of
it.
blue people are protesting them, are protesting like lockdowns and
Some.
quarantines and stuff.
I'm saying majority. I would say majority of red is thinking it's not as big of a deal. Majority of
I
blue.
feel like I'd have to
Yeah,
see
I
stats.
I haven't noticed that correlation at all. But I don't
Dude,
look at
that's
tons of news. I haven't noticed
Crazy
that
to
at
me,
all.
actually.
I've noticed that there's been still tons of conservatives that go both ways. There's still tons of conservatives that go, yes, we should be very cautious. Better to be overly cautious than underly cautious.
And that's the way it should be.
I would say that's the difference between you and Eli and me. Like, I think both of you guys are on the let's be cautious side.
You think Eli is?
Are you?
When it comes to what? Like, take the,
Corona.
I think
I
it's
feel like I'm
always
way
better to
more
be
cautious
more
than.
careful, like
Oh, okay.
overly cautious
Yeah.
than underly cautious.
That from our argument earlier at dinner.
Oh, okay.
That's what I picked up from him.
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately think there's nothing you can do about it, and I think it's better to just go back to how we were before.
But that's crazy talk, because if you know that something will kill someone that's this old and obese and has previous health conditions, of course you should quarantine them and they should stay safe until this blows over.
Yeah, quarantine them. I mean, I would say the majority of people don't need to be, I guess, locked down.
Yeah.
But that, and I would also say that
I mean, it kills 1%, right?
you're right. It kills 1%.
Isn't it less than 1%?
It probably
it's
is.
2%.
It's just like the flu. I mean, the flu kills thousands of people
Flu
every year.
deaths have gone so far down now, because if you have the flu and coronavirus, even if you died from the flu, it counts as a coronavirus death.
Huh.
Really?
Crazy.
Yeah.
No,
Same with
doctors are doing some like sketch things with that,
retarded, dude.
where it's
That's
like
cracked.
they're just counting some deaths as COVID deaths that are like literally from natural
Right.
accidents and
Of
stuff.
like,
And it's like,
well, I've also heard like a lot of respirator deaths or like oxygen
Mhm.
like related, that kind of stuff. A lot of those are being applied to COVID,
Wow.
which is weird.
so
That's
it
kinda
doesn't make
weird.
sense because China would like hella decrease their reported numbers,
Uh-huh.
and America's like increasing their reported
Dude,
numbers, and it's like
China at the beginning, it was way sketch. I talked about I talked to my mom about this when everything was like first happening. She's like, "Are you ever like worried that it's gonna happen in America?" And I was like, not really even a firm believer.
I know that's when we scheduled our flights.
I know, seriously. Because one of the things I saw, and this was probably the craziest thing I've seen on Reddit, is you know the subreddit Best Of?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a guy that basically linked on Best Of to a comment that was probably like 2 or 3 weeks old. Like literally within a couple of people, a few digits, predicted how many people China was going to say had COVID. It was insane. And he explained in it, he's like, in the next couple of weeks, this is the day-to-day amount that China is going to say has COVID. And
Dang.
because they always follow the same algorithm when dealing with viruses. They've done it in the past. This is what they're going to do this time. And it's bizarre. Like, it was mind-blowing to me when I saw that, because I was like, because it's a very, like, conspiracy thing of China's going to report this. Like, that's like a crazy conspiracy, but then seeing it come true, and I saw it on Best Of, like, a couple weeks after, it was 100% right. Like, what the F, dude? That's
Dang.
nutty.
Super
Yeah,
weird.
and I mean, on top of that, there was video evidence of them hauling urns, like thousands of urns in like massive lines of trucks, just
I mean,
urns.
Yeah, it's really bad. Like, I don't think there's any argument that it's not a thing, right? Of course, everyone knows that this has killed tons of people. But I think the argument comes down to, you're trying to say that the left or the right is mostly split there as far as how it should be dealt with, right?
Yeah, I honestly have seen that even in my workplace of more conservative people.
I think that only comes down to conservatives being scared of big government, and whenever they go against
I
the
totally think
rules
that's a part of
set
it.
there,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would agree.
that's what
Yeah,
causes it.
I'm not even trying to say like the reason for it, but I think it's weird. I've noticed that, like, and I've heard other people say the exact same thing. So I think my
You could be right. I don't watch. I don't
Yeah,
keep up with the news very much.
It's interesting because I work with a lot of liberals.
Yeah.
And the more conservative coworkers that I have are just like less concerned. Even though pretty much all of them, I would say, like lean pretty left, but like the more and more it gets, you can just tell, dude. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah.
But I do agree that to have that suddenly become associated with partisan like
that's
campaigning
so
type
not
stuff,
how it should be.
really dumb.
Uh-huh.
So
Because I mean,
crazy.
I think part
But that's
of it,
what people think about global warming too. People have
Yeah.
the same exact
It's
opinion about
retarded.
global warming.
it's not how it should be, but because some like politicians, I think a lot of it, so I'm going to kind of misuse this word, but I don't know how to say it otherwise. These identity politics of I'm this party, everything that they say is true. That's a retarded way of looking at it.
I don't think anyone says straight up everything they say is true, but
Yeah,
I do
no
think
one
they
would ever admit to that.
accidentally
But
do
that is the bias that we have. You follow Trump.
Yeah.
You are more likely to agree with something he says. You might disagree. It's true, though.
Okay.
I
think
am
I would
part of
agree
the
with that.
Republican Party, right? I would more likely lean to what they say. It's just how
Yeah, I
people
would
are.
agree with that.
Okay, so, but that's the craziest thing is that when Donald Trump doesn't want to wear a mask on stage because he doesn't want the media to see him wearing a mask or whatever, then it becomes a political thing of, oh, Donald Trump doesn't think it's a real thing. This is why he's
But
just
that's
retarded.
where it gets taken out of hand is when someone suddenly says because he wasn't wearing a mask
Right.
makes him think it's not a real thing. That doesn't mean that that's what he was thinking.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like people have used COVID, and I've seen some people almost like blame it on the Republican Party of like
Yes,
without
dude.
the Republican Party, it would have gone way better. We would
Mm-hmm.
have we would have gotten over this.
And
so much
conservatives
quicker.
might have even said that if there was a liberal in office right now.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's
Yeah.
wild. I've told this to probably like so many people that I know. Every single person in America needs to realize there are intelligent people on both sides. And it pisses me off, dude. I get livid when I think about this of you're refusing to think about that the other party, even if you are as far right as possible, you have to realize, dude, there are super left-leaning people that are insanely
Super
intelligent.
Yeah. And I would even say it's weird because even to say right and left or I'm left or right is even that in itself,
Kinda
I think
scuffed.
is a super dumb, unhealthy concept in general.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be these two teams.
Yeah.
Because each of them have so many beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? Like I would say probably all four of us here have beliefs that match both sides. Some beliefs that are left and some beliefs that
Yeah.
are right. And
So
so,
true.
that's
Yeah.
another reason that it's
But
stupid.
it is, you can find yourself doing this, okay? So conservative versus liberal is basically, it comes down to actually big government, little government. Like
Yeah.
that's the basis of those parties.
Yeah.
But conservatives has taken on so much more than that.
Yeah.
Of they're
You think liberal has
anti-abortion.
too?
They
Because
are,
then liberals now become like politically correctness
Yeah.
and social changing.
yeah, and I have, but because it's just, and this goes back, I'm kind of restating what I've already said. If you call yourself a Republican, you're more likely to
Be
just
lined up with
agree
those.
with what the Republican Party says, because you don't even want to put one foot in the enemy camp and say, I actually do agree with this. Even though some things we have, like I'm sure I could think of something that I like agree with.
Stem cell
on the
research?
Democrat. Of that being okay?
Yeah.
And that's like a Democrat thing? Yeah.
That's
like
a
I totally
That's a
think. Yeah.
Democrat thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for
I
stem cell
love
research.
stem cell research.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
So
it's so
that's something that obviously we can just be like, yeah, we agree with that.
But
Well,
It is
basically-
crazy, dude, of the
Here's
differences.
one thing I would say I know we disagree on, and that's nuclear power.
Do you like
we
or
and
dislike?
you don't disagree on nuclear power. We both are totally for nuclear power.
Oh, I thought you wrote a paper in.
No, what I had a problem with, I remember this conversation.
Mm.
I said that there was some downsides, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you basically said it was like irrelevant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I basically said it was irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this. I remember the conversation now. Yeah, my
I still totally think nuclear is the way of the future.
Yeah.
We have
Oh,
no
yes.
other option that's as good.
exactly. Yeah.
really? You don't think we have any other option as good as nuclear?
No.
Dude,
No.
nuclear is insanely good.
Nuclear is super good.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
so my grandpa is actually a nuclear engineer, and basically what he was saying is, he went out and was like he monitored he was basically the.
Is that why your parents are rich?
No, thankfully.
It was all the slaves that they owned.
Exactly.
That
You
makes
know,
sense.
because I'm definitely not colored.
They got into that cotton game.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing, is that because they kind of looked a
Sugar
little
cane.
bit colored, they could trick all the black people.
You're right. That's actually
That's
true.
really just crazy.
Holy
yeah.
crap.
Wow.
So
Impressive.
he would go out to all of these plants and basically be the check and balance for them. Like, okay, you're doing everything correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what he was saying is like, they're putting out anywhere from 5 to 15 megawatts of power
Yeah.
a day.
It's insane. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. And the fact that, like, he was saying back in the
But how many gigawatts?
I have no idea, dude. Probably
At least a gigawatt a day.
at
How
least
many
a gig.
thicawatts?
Bro,
Too many
Dude.
thicawatts.
too many.
No, they haven't
Actually,
even
not
reached
enough,
it, dude.
Not enough. They need
Can't
some
even
more.
reach a full thicawatt. Dude.
Exactly.
Only
dude.
Daniel can
Eventually.
reach a full thicawatt.
Dude, I literally get out of
Ben
bed, thicawatt, dude.
Bro.
It's insane.
That's true.
That's
If
why
they
his
can
house
capture
is
that
shaped.
energy, yeah,
Yeah.
it's insane.
That's crazy.
But
Keep going.
what? Back in the 80s, there was these 3 plants that were supposed to be built. One in California, one in Portland, and I want to say one in. It was some. I don't want to say in the North Dakota area. But there was something happened, and they just shut all of them down.
So
but they
I
were gonna
can-
be small form factor plants.
If it's what I'm thinking of, it might not be. The 3 Mile Island meltdown was what set us back immensely in America.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
That may
reason,
be what it was.
like, so we actually have a ton of nuclear power, but
A
we
lot of
shouldn't
it's
have
offline.
some of it. I mean, I don't know what it is right now or anything, but we're actually doing really good compared to a lot of other countries on nuclear power. But
Interesting.
we also consume way more power than anyone else.
That's true.
But we should be so much farther ahead, except because of this 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant meltdown, it just screwed. Like, the public eye of nuclear power everyone just thinks it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
Because of these specific events,
Mm-hmm.
which dude, this is gonna sound retarded. I feel like there has to be some like spiritual warfare there of like this retarded thing, because it's insane the type of stuff that happens for these plants to melt down. Like crazy
Yeah.
coincidences, dude.
Mhm.
Of like, how is that even possible? How did this thing line up with 13 other
How many
things?
times has something like that happened?
Isn't it just twice? Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island?
No, there's like the one in
Fukushima.
Japan. There's one in India.
So it's almost like there's a spiritual warfare to stop nuclear. Is what your joke
maybe,
was.
yes. That's kind of, it's
hold
not
on.
even a joke, dude.
Nuclear.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I feel like
nuclear.
there could be something, because, dude, learning about all of these things, it's unreal, dude. How poorly things go, like, for these people. Like, the most unlucky person alive. Like, they just have to be. Every single person working in those plants has to be the most unlucky, because it's so safe.
Mm-hmm.
They're so safe. They're
Yeah.
so like reliable. I'm not saying there's not downsides, but they're so safe, and it's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. My grandpa was talking about when 3 Mile Island happened. One of the things they did is they stopped burying the rods in the ground.
Oh.
I don't remember what the reason was, but
Well, I think they still bury it. They have different things. They have like underground pools now that they
right.
can use.
Yes. One of the things that he was talking about though is a lot of the time they're on site, and he was saying these things are actually massively dangerous, because what happens is you put these radioactive rods in these pools, and basically what you're doing is you're just taking a pressurized bin and then just letting it get pressure and then explode. And a lot of the time they can even melt through the metal that it's in.
I would be interested in learning more about that, because from what I've heard, it's once it's there, it's like kind of just safe. But the problem is you can't touch that land anymore.
Yeah.
It's just
it's
like-
like 1,000 years until you
Oh,
can actually
dude,
touch
longer. It's like 1 million plus. It's crazy.
it. Really?
Yeah,
Dude,
the half-life
Chernobyl-
is insane.
I googled one time when Chernobyl will become habitable again, like when plants will start regrowing and people can go back there. It's retarded. It's like humanity might not even exist at that point.
It's insane.
But here's the thing: is plants still grow there, like perfectly fine.
Depending on the radius. But there's also,
Right.
did you guys see the headline a while ago of like the fungi that feeds off of radioactive energy?
In the fish.
What?
Dude, there's like this living organism that literally feeds off of radiation.
That's alpha.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
All of the
epic.
comments that I saw was like, this is the beginning of an apocalypse movie. What kind of living thing is like, give me radiation,
Dude,
Crazy.
Wait. Do you remember the SCP about the freaking it's the living SCP, the thing that just turns people into mushy goo.
The living room?
No. It was in Russia. And it
I
was
think
this,
I know which one you're talking
yeah,
about.
it's this big old hole, and it's under it is literally all like flesh. It's just a flesh
that's just so
organism, and anything that
SCPs
touches
are
it,
so cool.
yeah,
turns
it
into
just anything that it touches just turns into flesh, and then,
Love it.
bro,
talk
literally, it in the SCP universe, it's basically at the same point as Chernobyl. This fleshy like growth just under the tundra.
Crazy.
Tons of people think
Disgusting.
that Stranger Things 3, this third season, is going to come out. I can't remember if it was the end of this year or the beginning of this year. But because Jim Hopper is in Russia, and because it takes place the same year as Chernobyl, tons of people think that they're going to have whatever upside-down event is going to either have caused the Chernobyl incident, or that the Chernobyl incident will cause that gate somehow reopening, so that plot can
That's
actually
actually kind
continue.
of awesome. I
Yeah.
support this.
Yeah,
That's
because
dope.
Yeah,
it takes place the same year, and he is in that location, and so it's kind of like
Yeah, dude.
that'd be dope.
Dude.
Second thing I want to say, the SCP. I don't want to talk about the specifics of different SCPs. More like that whole thing that's happened in reality, like the fact that people have gotten together, random people, and written these dope stories
It's like
in this.
5,000 now, dude.
I know, and in this like agreed upon format,
crazy.
even is so cool to me. It's like such a
It's amazing.
massive piece of art that has been worked on by so many different people.
Dude.
Something about that's so admirable. Because if you made a Netflix show about that, like if you made a
Oh, it
Netflix
would be
original,
So dope.
and it would be
It would be
infinite,
cool.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
run out.
Yeah.
It would be
You would never
so
run out.
cool.
Yeah, there's some pretty dope short films based off of the SCP stuff. Like, what's the one like 97? Or like, what's the guy that never stops running after you look at it?
Yeah, I think it's 097.
Yeah,
Yeah,
097.
097.
That one. There's like multiple short films because that's like a fan favorite. Like
Dude,
everyone
some of
loves
the
that
ones
one.
that are famous like that
Aren't even as
aren't
cool
even
as like
that
some of the
cool
other
to
ones.
me.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I was thinking of is when you said it was like an art project of like this amazing thing that like a human collaboration thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we could like send that off. You know, like those capsules that we send off that if there's like alien life,
Yeah.
that they see those.
Voyager.
If you send the SCP, people
It'll
would
go-
be like, I'm never coming to Earth.
They would be.
It would be so effed.
It would be so scary, and not only Earth, but some of the SCPs are like one of them is in that storm
Yeah.
in Jupiter, and like stuff
Like,
that's
dude,
in
imagine
Yeah.
you send this to like another civilization on a different planet. Let's say they're at the same level as us. They get this orb.
They would go.
What the fuck?
Their whole
You're
concept.
telling me
No.
there's like, dude, it would be.
There's an
I
evil
think-
IKEA over there. What
Yeah.
the hell?
I almost am
Yeah.
starting to think that it wouldn't work because some of the SCPs are
Are like,
definitely not possible in physics because they like
Okay.
change physics.
yeah.
Or there's like an angel type thing based on the Bible,
But
right? And I know some of the
get that.
monsters-
There's
But,
also
like,
Cain and Abel in that.
right. There
Really?
are
Yeah.
there's some biblical figures
Super cool.
in
That's cool.
SCP. There's also like I don't even know if they say Jesus in it, but it's like
It's trying to be.
Yeah,
There's
like-
one called God too.
Yeah, it's
right.
literally just
Is
God.
it? But there is one that says the like Abrahamic
Abrahamic
savior,
something.
or like it's something like that where it's
Yeah.
very, very, very clearly, I think, like Jesus,
There is,
but they don't ever say it.
So, it's not an SCP, but it's referenced. So a lot of SCPs end up referencing this entity, just basically calling it the Abrahamic savior. basically being Jesus, but they never there is not explicitly.
I kind of like that.
I like that too.
It's almost like some SCPs will set a precedent for how the universe is supposed to be, and then
Yeah.
people later that are writing will conform to that, and that
But I
makes
mean,
it so cool.
I do like it because I kind of wish it like stayed like that, where there was always this like one cooler thing, because then it would be like throwback to Christianity, right?
Yeah. So
there's the ACP. There's like the event, like SCP.
Oh, that countdown timer.
5,000 or whatever. What was the one that basically nothingness just destroyed everything?
I don't.
I talked to Drake about this. There's one that it was
it.
basically the end of the universe, like
and
the
it already
actual-
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then an SCP agent used another SCP item to stop it.
Oh, I remember this one. It was So
It's scuffed, dude. That whole universe is like,
dude,
I
so
know.
it's
crazy.
retarded.
there's this SCP object, and it's basically, I remember exactly which one it is.
You can't be seen or
Yeah,
something
you
like
can't
that.
you can't be cognitively observed
And
by
so I think
a
even
being.
nothing, the essence of nothingness, couldn't see the
The
SCP
universe.
agent.
Yeah,
Like this one agent couldn't be seen by nothingness.
and then literally
So
what
then he
ended up.
somehow stopped nothingness.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or
So
like,
what happened is
I
he
don't know.
brought this message through this it was a time thing and he went back in time to before the thing happened, but what ended up happening is it was this box that he knew had to get to this certain place, and he brought it to the place, but it was this big old long hole in the ground, and he literally just ended up dying. So they find him dead in this hole, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? And then they read all of the logs and stuff like that, and then they realize at the end of it, what ended up happening is he just went back in time because he fell through the hole.
Oh, so the end of the universe will still happen.
No,
'cause
no,
he
no,
was from
no.
the future.
No,
I think it did get stopped, right?
it did get
Stopped
stopped because that item
Made it to that spot.
made it to that spot.
But that idea, it's basically like this cloak, like the cloak in Harry Potter, whatever you want to say, like this invisibility cloak. And the idea, it's so cool to me that someone came up with the essence of nothingness that could destroy the most powerful, because it's not even this destruction of something, it's turning it into nothingness.
Yeah.
But someone thought of the idea that this specific thing is so powerful that nothingness can't see it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so weird.
That's such a cool concept.
I know.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I can't think of any other collaboration that caused really good writers, like normal
good
people,
writers, yeah.
really good writers to go, this is a cool spot to put my efforts, and it's a universe that's so intriguing too.
Yeah.
It's not just like some nonfiction type something,
Yeah.
right? It's like this dope, intriguing, and scary and creepy story, and everyone's conforming to this format that lets it keep growing. So much of
Yep.
that is like, that seems like that's never gonna die, ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is this one. It's cracked, dude. There's this one.
Someone should back it up. I'm scared. Like, what if somehow it got taken down or
So
the server
there was
got
actually
deleted?
the thing in
Yeah.
Russia. There was this one company that tried to take it down, and the SCP community raised over like $50,000 for legal fees.
Mm-hmm.
They just all donated money, and then they won the case in Russia.
Yeah.
That's
and so
dope.
they,
That's
like-
scary though. That why would any
I don't know.
company
It was
do
some
It's
company
open
that like
source.
had a. Maybe, I thought it was like a similar name or something like that. They just kind of
Yeah.
like sued
Mhm.
them or something. But like SCP now is like they can't get touched in Russia or something
Exactly.
like that. It's like,
Yeah.
which is dope.
But the one thing I wanted to talk about like the SCP is there is this one overarching story that ended up coming out in place, and it's called the Ouroboros effect. I think it was.
Aurora Borealis.
No, that's Ouroboros, like the snake eating itself.
Oh.
So
It's like the Aes Sedai ring.
Yeah.
yeah,
They actually
So-
call it the Ouroboros. I think at some point. Yeah.
yeah. So there's this legitimate SCP story called the damn dude.
Keep going.
The Ouroboros effect, I think it was. I don't remember, but it's like I want to say like 5 hours worth of content, and it was like 20 different authors got together and made this one story, and it's so intriguing. It's like 5 different stories that all come back into one overarching story, and it's so fascinating and intriguing. You can go find it on YouTube, but it's one of the most like intriguing pieces of like literature I've ever read or listened to.
Yeah, and I think also because it has to like go through the community before it's ever like officially canon, it weeds out like a lot, dude. Because
For sure.
dude, so I browse that subreddit, like SCP Foundation, like a lot, and I love, dude, that community is so intense.
Yeah.
Really?
Like I've heard so many stories about people, like they'll say it's like, I'm like honestly like a good writer. Like some have even have like a major in writing, and they're like, I've tried 20 times to get an SCP, and I can't do it.
Who is it that judges it? That makes me worried that they're dumb.
it's
Just
community.
the community in general.
Oh, so
like,
does it have to hit a certain number of upvotes?
yeah,
type of
it's
thing?
something like that where people have to like it enough that it
I see.
goes through. So I like that because there's not one person
That's-
judging it. There's not a
I
panel
do
that
like
judges
it.
it.
It's everyone judging it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The person that's writing it can judge other people's SCPs, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like
That's
from
the
what I
best
heard, it's
system.
like genuinely hard to get approved because
Otherwise, it would just
really
expand
competent.
too fast.
Yeah.
You end up with
But I mean,
Even
that's the thing. It's
5,000 is like,
dude.
I
lot.
listened to one through, I think I'm on 140, I think, but
Dude,
I think there's only been
so much time.
I know it's hours and hours, but I think there's only been 2 of those that I could not find any YouTube video of someone reading them, and I just went and actually read it, right? But I hate doing that,
Dude,
would
I
way
feel like
rather listen to
honestly, if I could dedicate the next like 2 years to like doing like reading all of them and have the only channel or like Spotify account
I
that
know, that
has
had all of
every
them?
single
Exactly.
thing, that's like a guaranteed way to get like
know.
make a living
Facts.
off of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was a podcast that tried to do that. I even tried looking in podcast things. I was like, there has to be. And I think people have done it up through, I think they had like 50 or 60 of them. And it was just like
And
AIDS.
They
Yeah.
can't. Yeah, it's
But
dude,
like
it's
the
so
best
much
ones,
reading.
the best YouTube channels that do it have, first of all, like this good voice, right? The way they read it and they get into this character.
Right.
And then they can also, they edit all these dope background noises, you know, like say as part of the story is like, I was sprinted down the hallway and blah, blah, blah. And you'll hear like a,
yeah.
like that type of stuff is dope.
Which channels specifically are you talking about?
The Volgan is one of them. I
Okay.
think that's probably the biggest SCP YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then there's one just called SCP Readings, and it's like some girl. There's one. There's tons of them. One sounds like this like 50-year-old guy in Texas sitting in an RV or something. Like the way his accent and everything is retarded. But it's so funny how many of them he's recorded. And I commented on that's the only YouTube channel where the person has replied to my comment. And I said something like, I think it was when I hit 100. I said, hey, I've listened to you for the better part of these first 100, and I just want to say you're my favorite SCP reading channel. It was like some basic compliment like that. And he responded and said, thanks, man. Thanks so much. I love doing it, and I'm planning on keep doing it. And I was like, dope. That's
That's
cool.
it.
Yeah.
I would say my favorite, and it kind of sucks because he doesn't do like 1 through 100 or anything like that. He specifically does like the
random
cool ones.
like fan
I
favorites.
hate that. Yeah.
I hate it too, but the way he does it is super put together. It's
That
the
also gets
exploring.
the most views.
Yeah,
Not
that's
everyone
true.
wants
Yeah.
to know about like the non-fan favorites.
Yeah.
I know, but like,
It's
there's
it's
gotta be
frustrating.
enough of people like me.
But yeah, that want to know every single one.
Yeah.
But also, dude, even the fact that there are community members that have read every single one,
Cracks.
that is crazy.
And here's
dude.
another thing: is the
It's
YouTube.
so insane.
What's even more insane about that is that most of the YouTube readings of it is only I think it's like the containment procedures and the description
Right.
of the SCP.
Those like 3 things, not all. Like
and that's
the-
it. But
The
there's
SB
all these backstories.
097-1 or dash
Yeah,
2.
and some of them will do
Right.
that, but some of them have so many that there's hours, like he said, like there could be one SCP or SCP story that's hours and hours and hours of reading, and it's
Yeah.
like,
It's insane.
And there's
Bruh.
even like what they call side stories or
yeah, that
Yeah.
aren't even based around a specific SCP. It's just
Yeah.
a side story of one of the
universe,
agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that there was actually a big one that just came out. It was from an author that's actually pretty well known in that community. I saw this on the SCP that like a ton of people were super excited. It's like, oh, the new side story is out, something like that. It
Dude,
was-
I need to get on that subreddit. That sounds dope.
Mhm.
dude. It's
Um,
dope. One thing I'll say is like the channel I was talking about is called the Exploring series. He does other stuff, but I love his SCP stuff. It's so good because he goes through and does all of the like containment or the oh my gosh, the exploration logs. He goes through, because most of those channels that just describe it don't go through the exploration logs of like the teams that go in to try and secure it, or the doctors or the lab people that are like studying it. A lot of those channels that are just describing it don't go through that. They just, tell you what it's about.
Dude, to have a Netflix original series that starts with this one normal dude who wants to go into like the FBI or be an investigator or something, right? And he's almost there, and like in episode 1, some weird organization shows up, just some foundation,
Men in Black.
unnamed foundation, and says, "We really want you to like come do this test, like this entry exam, to see if you can be part of our thing." And then episode 1 is just basically this new guy in the first step into the SCP Foundation as a company.
Dude, it would be so good.
There's
It'd be
even
good.
an SCP
Dude, imagine
like that.
getting Matt Bomer too.
Bruh,
I
I'd
would
die.
Cream.
Dude.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I honestly feel like it takes like one celebrity on Twitter to get that actually started.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that weird
Let's
that some
all
people,
reach
like, have
out
that
to Matt
power?
Bomer.
Like, if Will Smith is like, I want to be the lead on a show that is this,
Someone
would
will
happen,
do
dude.
it.
It's kind of like the guy that directed Alita, like super big anime nerd.
Yeah.
But he's done like so many other films that you would just be like, oh yeah, he's just a regular film guy.
Right.
Yeah, he
And
just
then he's
likes
like,
films.
"Alright, I'm
but
gonna do
he's
Alita."
like, yeah, dude, I freaking love anime and manga, like
Was
all
it
of it.
Spielberg, Alita?
No,
No, not that guy. I'm saying the actual producer of Alita. Or was
let me
it
check.
Steven? I think it was Steven Spielberg.
Hawking?
Or is it James?
Stephen
Who
Hawking.
made
No.
Titanic? James Cameron?
James Cameron.
It was James Cameron. It was.
It
Whoever
was
did
actually
Titanic.
James Cameron.
It was whoever did.
No
Titanic.
way.
Robert
He made Alita.
James Cameron. Yeah,
James
it was
Cameron.
James Cameron.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Yeah,
James
James
Cameron
Cameron made
directed
Alita.
Alita.
Freaking
I
No
didn't
joke.
know that.
Yeah, and he wants to do another one.
No, he's a producer, not the director.
Well, okay, but
Wait,
he,
who's the director? Is it anyone that I would recognize?
Robert Rodriguez.
I've heard of him.
Familiar, but
So
but I don't know what he's done.
Well, okay.
The
so
reason-
here's what happened is
But the producer is a big part of getting that actually
Yeah.
The reason,
started.
Yeah.
especially James Cameron, the reason that that's important is because there's been like 3 different times where he tried to put a retarded budget towards some movie idea, and people were like, "That's retarded. You're gonna tell the story of the Titanic." That was the first one that people were like,
Right.
"That's too much money. You're building this big of a ship for this movie, And sure enough, right, greatest movie or biggest, most money making movie of all time. Second time,
Not anymore.
not anymore. But the second
Even
time,
adjusted for
Endgame,
inflation.
Yeah.
Dang.
Endgame smashed everything, bro.
sure did.
I thought
As it deserves.
I thought
to.
like the
Avatar.
No, Star Wars has passed
Godfather.
it up. Star Wars passed up Titanic.
No,
even
I was
after inflation.
seeing like the biggest movie if adjusted for inflation was like The Godfather or something. Because The Godfather like came out at like this
I think
crazy
like Dances
time.
with the Wind or something crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
is where
I've heard something like if you count for like some of those old movies,
I think it always should
it
be
would be
adjusted
like
for inflation.
insane.
But so the story of Alita, how it came to be, was James Cameron always wanted to do it. And he especially wanted to do it. I think it was early 2000s, late 90s ish. But what he said was like, dude, we just can't do it. We can't do it yet. The CGI is not good enough.
Yeah, the technology wasn't good enough.
That's literally what he was saying. He's like, the technology would just not allow
dope.
for it to be good.
So
I
cool.
like how his vision
And-
is to a point to where he's literally imagining things that can't physically happen yet.
I'm
Exactly,
10
dude.
years ahead of you fools.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's like, catch up to me, get on my level, and we can make it.
Yep.
So
So dope.
at the same time, he literally was the one that like set Alita into motion. He was the director of it at one point, and then he, I'm not sure what happened, but he let Robert Rodriguez take over, and
Yeah.
he's what is credited as the director for Alita now.
That did happen. Yeah, that's dope.
For someone to
I wonder
be like,
how successful that movie was. Sorry.
it was pretty successful.
It was decently successful.
Uh-huh.
I would say not as good as a lot of people as Titanic, but
right, not on the same level, but I mean, even
I think a lot of people
are you
will read it
looking-
out.
Oh, okay, you're not. What were you gonna say though?
I was just trying to get back on the SCP thing, saying like if someone were to reach out to James Cameron or somebody that with a budget, right? I feel like it would be very successful, but I would be scared.
It grossed $85.7 million in the U.S.
In the U.S. So that's probably
worldwide total of $404 million.
That's
That's
lot.
really good.
That's really good.
Really
Yeah.
good. That's one of those. games.
How much did it cost?
Let's guess first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
I'm gonna guess pretty
30
high.
to 50 million.
I was gonna guess like 300.
300 million.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
wait,
guess.
how much did it
It's
make?
definitely gonna be
404. 405.
I'm gonna say 80 million. That's my guess.
28 million.
80 million.
Oh wait, no, 200. Wait, yeah, 28 million. Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
170 million.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know it's definitely.
Yeah.
No, I was closest. You guessed 300 million. I guessed 80
I
million.
definitely overshot, but I knew it was gonna be an expensive movie. Yeah, I mean,
Dude, I
those.
Googled
Yeah,
what
I
the
don't know why I
most-
guessed 300 because that's more than like Endgame.
You want to see if IKEA is going to let us put in our order?
Dude, I
Yeah, literally,
Googled
please.
what the most expensive music video of all time was because I was looking at music videos and there was some crazy, like, I don't remember, like Katy Perry, like her sets and costumes and stuff were just massive for a music video. And I was like, what's the most expensive music video? Guess whose it is?
Who? Oh, also
Michael Jackson has the most. He spent the most money on a music video of all time.
What
Which
video
music
is it?
video?
But he's also made the most money from music, so it's kind of whatever. But
Is that real?
yeah, he has, like,
I
I think
believe it.
in the
He
top.
sold so much,
Yeah,
dude.
and he has the #1 best-selling album of all time too. Still,
Does he really?
Dang.
yeah, without definitely. You have
I mean,
like
it's still kind of surprising to me
okay,
Yeah.
as well, but
well, whatever. I think I Google music stuff a lot, but
yeah.
anyway, it's a retarded. If you watch that music video, you can tell that budget is only because it was CGI at its peak at the time, and that CGI looks awful. I bet one random person from Reddit could remake that entire video, even
Which
with
music
Michael
video?
Jackson being dead.
Yeah, what music video is it?
Scream. It's called Scream. It was a song he made with some other bigger artist at the time.
So funny, dude.
And it's awful
So
CGI.
crazy.
And I think the budget was, I don't remember, over $1 million. I can't remember what it was, but
Dang. For a music video.
in the
It's
80s.
literally like 3 minutes long.
In the 80s.
That's so crazy.
Super
I mean, I feel like that's, dude, $1 million for 3 minutes. That's gonna be comparable to some movies.
That's honestly comparable to ads nowadays, dude. Like 30-second Super Bowl ads, like, wasn't that like
yeah, but
$5 million
you can't
this summer?
count Super Bowl as like the norm for ads, though.
Yeah,
But I
not
guess
normal,
it's a
but
Michael
it's
Jackson
crazy
song,
that
too.
it can be up there.
That's just to have their ad like shown.
Yeah.
That's not even the
Dude,
production cost
What
of
do you
the
think
ad.
what do you think is the most expensive second in cinematic history?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Probably Endgame when they had every single main character on screen.
Yeah, but that's only
because
one.
they
Wait.
no that would be a part of what they got paid because that's them. Like that would
That's why it's
technically be a
expensive.
part of like let's say you added up all the time that they were on the screen, even if it was just for a second. If you have every single big A-list celebrity on the screen
And divide all of
that's
that
an
up.
expensive frame, dude.
Yeah,
That's what
no,
I'm saying.
frame's way shorter than a second.
Yeah,
though.
I mean a second, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a weird way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Because if you're paying a guy a couple $1 million
I know, and whatever CGI is in
all
that
the
second,
CGI, like
yeah, whatever costume designers you had to
Mm-hmm.
pay and CGI that's in the background for that 1 second set design,
Yeah.
it's gonna be that's a good one. It might be an end game scene.
it would probably. Do you think it could ever get to like $1 million for 1 second?
Yeah,
I think it
probably.
could, but only in a situation where you're either pushing the frontier of technology again, kind of like the Michael Jackson video, or you've got some.
Where you've had because sometimes they have to make their own technology.
Yeah, they've invented technology
Yeah.
just
So,
to achieve something.
James
That-
Cameron.
James Cameron, but that also
George
happened
Lucas.
with
yeah, a lot of people. Yeah.
James
you remember-
Cameron did Avatar. The same thing happened that happened with Titanic.
Do you remember Treasure Planet?
Yes.
Freaking
Dope.
love that,
Okay.
dude.
Best
That
movie
movie-
of
If
my
that
life.
movie
That
was
is-
live action,
Bruh,
Outcome.
you're right.
Dude, even the
you can't say that word.
I would be very happy.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
yeah.
Treasure Planet was made. Is probably one of the most expensive movies.
And Disney
To
effed
make.
them over, dude.
Yeah. So what ended up happening
Irritates
is
TF out of me.
yeah.
Why was that expensive?
super expensive is because they
It was a
use
new kind of art.
they use this new 3D mold or
There's some
modeling.
weird parts, like weird looking things where it doesn't blend with the rest of like Disney.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Disney has like a look.
Yes.
And it was like,
No,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
That's
And
a
basically-
weird
So they
movie.
use this live action 3D modeling technology. It was basically CGI before CGI, but
Disney.
yeah,
Yeah,
Disney.
but Disney didn't like it. They didn't think it was going to be good, so they
Exactly.
effed Treasure Planet over, and that's why Treasure Planet did terrible, even though it's literally one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah.
Best movies, period.
Period.
But-
period.
but it
That was
was-
my childhood. Treasure
it was
Planet was my
legitimately
childhood. I wanted to have a rat tail as a kid.
Yeah. It was legitimately
Because of
so
Jimbo.
expensive.
That's
to
why
make.
Jimbo, I wanted to be my nickname when I was like 12.
Dude,
Really?
that
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What the frick?
Treasure Planet, I will say, it's one of the most memorable cartoons ever.
Yes,
It's
dude.
I
They
watch
made
it at least
McDonald's.
a couple times a
They
year.
made McDonald's toys out of it.
They make
Yeah.
McDonald's toys out of retarded.
I know,
movies.
but
That's
like this
true.
was at a time that like nothing got a McDonald's toy.
McDonald's is the biggest toy manufacturer and distributor in the world.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my god.
Wow, that's nuts. Yo, this is nuts. I was
Daniel,
okay. Hold on. I was about to make.
Crazy,
I don't know if it
dude.
was manufacturer and distributor, but it's distributor.
Okay, I was gonna buy a shaker for this trip from Walmart, and I noticed something strange. And I was like, I was looking at the shaker, and it was the top shaker there, and it was literally manufactured and distributed by McDonald's, and I was like, what?
Dude, McDonald's is moving their
So
way
I
up.
wonder what
Yeah,
I wonder
guess.
what all they manufacture and distribute.
Dude, that's a great question.
That's a good question.
Dude, you know those videos of I can't even think of like the title, but basically it says something like the weird things that Amazon owns, or like
Yeah.
because there was one that
Like the
basically
singing pickle.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But there's like Amazon owns like a part of some mercenary army,
Yeah.
like just whack things, dude.
Yeah.
And like I wonder about those huge companies. What's like the weirdest thing Apple owns, right?
Sweatshops in China.
Apple.
For real,
That's
dude.
not that weird at this point.
Yeah, it's not. But like you get what I'm saying of like out of the norm. Like a shaker sold by
Intentionally
McDonald's.
shady
That's
thing.
weird. That's
Yeah.
weird. Why did they manufacture that?
Imagine
That's
they're
not
like,
their
yo, dude, where
business.
do you work? Oh, I work at this manufacturing warehouse. Oh, cool. What company? McDonald's.
McDonald's. Oh, so you're making the toys? No, I make kitchenware.
No, I get giant sheets
McDonald's
of metal and make
branded
them melted
kitchenware,
into
dude.
cylinders. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you guys remember or
it's crazy,
did you
dude.
guys hear about the McDonald's Monopoly scam?
Yeah. They made a whole documentary about it on Hulu.
Yeah.
What is it?
Crazy. So you know how like some companies will do those Monopoly games where every time you buy something you get these little pieces of paper that come with your receipt and you'll take it home and peel it off, kind of like
Or
a
they had it on the drink.
scratch off ticket or whatever. Yeah, or you'll peel it off the drink, and it's a Monopoly. It's one of the places on a Monopoly board, and if you can get Monopolies, like all the 3 greens or the 3 reds, you win some prize, like a cash prize or a
that's-
year
okay.
of free McDonald's, or you win
Dang.
$10,000. And so people will sit and buy way more McDonald's to get
Right.
more of those things, right? And
They only had 2 out of 3 of every property.
yeah, that happens every year. The Dargers were way into it, and everyone would sit and trade and like, I need this place. Here you go, you know. And like Safeway does it. Safeway is like a grocery store, kind of like Walmart, just groceries though.
Yeah, it's common outside of Utah.
Okay, yeah, Safeway it does Monopoly game also, right? My mom
Uh-huh.
does that. So Hulu made this documentary where McDonald's did this scam where one of the guys on the actual, I guess, the belt that produces those actual stupid Monopoly pieces in the warehouse ended up seeing Boardwalk or whatever the one piece was that makes someone win what is it, 1 million? Or is
Yeah.
it 10 million?
It changed every year because they could change it.
Yeah.
It changed like every single year.
Basically, what ended up happening is he stole it secretly. He stole the $1 million little piece and tried to make it look like it was chance and gave it to like his brother's friend's cousin. You know, tried to get it down the line a little bit
Yeah.
with this giant plot so that they would all split the money and it would be this big thing. And it ended up working at first, and then people looked into it way too much. They're like, no, there's a connection. You know, they figured out that there was a chance for him to have cheated, and so then they looked into it, and he did, and they made a big documentary about it on Hulu.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Dude, thinking about
It's
being the person that like sees a ticket, like you know those like 1 in a million, like the bottle of Mountain Dew have a chance to win $1 million, something like that. Like a lot of companies do that.
The Willy
like,
Wonka gold
Being
chocolate.
able to, like see that, like be the person in the
"That's
warehouse
it,
of like,
that's it."
that's crazy. That's the $1 million
Should
bottle.
take a picture.
I wonder who that's going to. That would be like a weird thing, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Something about that. You'd know the next person to touch that,
Yeah.
their life will change forever.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
crazy.
for the worse.
Most of the
Statistically,
time,
yes.
Yes, statistically.
Yeah.
This will
Dude,
probably
that's
ruin
effed.
their life.
My name's
Dude,
Earl.
so effed. I hate that. I hate
It's
that
an
someone can get
awful
rich and their
statistic.
life get worse.
It's an awful statistic. It's a crazy statistic. It's like almost everyone who won the lottery files for bankruptcy 5 years later or something like that.
Yeah.
There's like a correlation there that's like,
How can you be that
Yeah.
dumb?
Yeah.
I mean, but it's just it's being irresponsible with your money.
it's
Like,
obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we all get it, and like they live these insanely lavish lifestyles. Like, dude, I've seen some of like those interviews with people that go bankrupt, and like the stuff that they'll spend money on. Like, even I would say most rich people wouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we bought this $10,000 like bottle of champagne, and we poured 10 of those bottles into our hot tub.
yeah.
Yeah, but the only
What?
reason that's like if you get someone like a rapper that makes $4 million a year and
Right.
he's doing that, like even though that's probably still irresponsible and retarded, it's such a small, it's pretty inconsequential for that guy. But if
Yeah.
it's a one-time win, like that Monopoly thing, if you look at that long term and how that's supposed to last, it's a major portion
I
of what
think
you
it's
have.
just like the dent that makes in their bank account at that moment is so small.
Yeah,
Like, let's say they
it
won
seems
$100 million,
inconsequential.
right?
Yeah.
But if you're doing that every single freaking day,
Dude.
it adds up.
Yeah. I mean,
It's crazy, dude. Like,
I know.
think about trying to spend these people that have like $30 million and going bankrupt.
You would
What?
feel you would be a different type of person. That would change something. It seems
Dude,
like in you.
you would go sicko unless like
Did you know that bankruptcy is listed in the top 3 most traumatic events possible in life?
I
Like it's
believe
death
it,
of a loved one,
yeah, I don't doubt it.
bankruptcy, and some kind of like
divorce.
no, it's a. I don't think it's divorce.
Really?
Yeah, it's like negative traumatic experiences. I don't think divorce was one of them. You could Google them.
That's actually so surprising, dude.
It
I've
might
always
be-
heard divorce is one of like the
I think for
Maybe I'm
kids,
just
yeah,
remembering
it's
it wrong.
super. I think it's super traumatic for kids, but I would say for the actual people getting divorced, a lot
Can
of
I
the time,
Google it on your
it's
phone?
really not that traumatic for them because
I
they're like,
disagree, dude.
man, I'm just done. Well, I would say if you base it off Christian values, yeah, that's super
Dude, even
traumatic.
outside of that, I've listened to so many podcasts that talk about that of like divorce is just it F's you, dude.
Yeah, it
Even
does.
if you're the one that initiates a divorce, it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
divorce is in the top 3. It's
Oh, it is, okay.
at least in this isn't the polling I was looking at last time.
Here's what I'll say. I'm basing this off a very select few people in my life that I know have gotten divorced, and they're like, yeah, I knew it was coming, and I kind of just was like, I'm done.
Yeah, and I think it can be like this somewhat like mutual thing. I don't think it has to be, but for a lot of people, dude,
Yeah.
even if they're the ones that start it, it's so traumatic.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I can't do that, like, because in a sense, it's like you're literally, that person is just dead.
Yeah.
In a sense, that it weirdly is.
It's crazy.
Like your relationship, and like it is almost like the death of a loved one.
I think
I no longer love this person that I loved with all of my heart.
Yeah, I think even without the marriage having happened, of course, that's a bigger deal because you did have that full commitment, and now it's different. But I think that anyone who you spend a massive amount of time with, right? Like it could be someone you live with, or like obviously people that are close to you, like family members and things like that. It's probably the same type of trauma. You know what I mean? Don't you think?
Yeah.
So okay, I
I
have
think
a
it's worse when it's an SO though, like a lover. It's a
Yeah.
way tighter connection.
why. Okay, this is kind of like